What is up, guys, and welcome back to part 29 of my F1 2016 career mode here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. If you missed season 1 and of course the first 7 rounds of this 2016 career mode, then you can click the little card annotation in the top right hand corner of your screens to go catch up with everything that's happened in this career mode so far. But we're here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, one of the most tricky street circuits I've probably done, especially around that castle section. It's a very, very tricky track indeed. But last time out of the Canadian Grand Prix, if you haven't already seen that, you know, there's card annotation in the top right hand corner for you guys to go check that out now. But last time out in Canada, we had a fantastic race. I mean, we started in 3rd position and we finished in 5th, so not too good if you think about it that way, but we did get a bit of front wing damage halfway through the race, so we had to have a longer pit stop. So yeah, 5th position, it's not too bad. It's still a good amount of points. And of course, Kimi Raikkonen also crashed out of that race. He had an engine failure, so that meant we gained 10 points on him in the championship, which means we are now back in front and leading the Drivers' Championship at the moment. But there is still a long way left to go in the season, so we're not thinking too much about that at the moment. But we're coming towards the halfway stage of the season, so we might start thinking about it soon. But I think Chris has a little bit of information for us in regards to the other teams. So let's head over to him and see what he has to say.
Hey, our upgrade pace is looking solid right now, but I do think we need to push harder if we want to stay competitive. Here's the report.
So Chris just saying there that we need to step up our game in terms of research and development. Looks like Ferrari have now moved above us in the vehicle performance comparison, and Toro Rosso have got a little bit close to us as well. They're not quite overtaken us, but they have definitely closed up the gap here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Looks, yes, there we go. Toro Rosso have improved their fuel consumption, and Ferrari have increased the downforce on their cars. So they're not massive developments, but there's still enough to put Ferrari above us, and of course Toro Rosso to close up the gap. Then there is still that huge gap between Toro Rosso and Red Bull at the moment, so very, very disappointing for Red Bull Racing. But let's see whether those upgrades affect the standings of the teams as we head over to the practice report.
Welcome to the Baku City Circuit, where free practice for the European Grand Prix is about to get underway. This is a technical circuit which will nonetheless see some huge speeds, with a near flat-out final sector that's twice the length of the back straight in Shanghai. Let's see who can find the right balance in their setup today.
Here we are then going over our first couple of laps in the practice sessions, just doing the track acclimatization at the moment, and luckily we managed to get the track acclimatization, get a purple score in that one on the second lap of trying. So that means we get a lot of resource points going in towards the end of the race weekend when we look at those at the end of the race. But great result for us, and that means we can move on to the tyre wear management, which we did actually do in this session. So that is really, really good that we can get both these done in one session. And we managed to get a purple score on this one. Just like last time out of Canada, we just managed to nick it, just managed to get those 80 points. But still, it's a good result for us. It means that even more resource points, and hopefully we can upgrade the car at the end of this race. But just looking at the results, and it looks like Kimi Raikkonen and Nico Hülkenberg have got 5 place grid penalties. So not too sure how those guys got those, but that's good news for us in terms of the race. And unfortunately we were down 21st position, but that's not really too relevant at all. And Rio Haryanto was the only guy that was behind us. So a little bit disappointing, but it's not really too relevant because we usually do better in qualifying and the race. Then we decided to go out in FP2 to try and do the qualifying simulation, but unfortunately this happened on that run. We just sort of go through these fast left then right, and we just nick the wall there on the right hand side. That's enough to force us into the left hand wall, and unfortunately that was our session over. We had to retire from the session due to losing I think it was both of the tyres at the end of the day after we smashed the wall on the right hand side on the second time of asking. And yeah, but we did manage to set a lap time that was good enough for 5th position, but unfortunately was not good enough to get the qualifying sim, so we couldn't get any resource points for that one. But we are definitely looking positive throughout the race weekend to hopefully get a very, very decent result here. We're very, very quick in a straight line, so if we are behind a couple of guys, we should be able to get past them down that 3rd sector. But without any further ado, let's head over to qualifying for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
Welcome to qualifying in the Republic of Azerbaijan. The teams are making their last-minute adjustments before the lights go green, and the fight for pole position can get underway.
Here we are then for the first qualifying session of the day, and we will be looking to get out of this one very easy. We know that we have a very, very competitive car around this circuit, especially through that final sector. We are so quick through there in a straight line. So what we're just going to do, we're just going to get on track, set a lap time in Q1, which should be good enough to get into Q2, and then we'll start thinking about whether we can get through into the next sessions or not. Here we are then on our first lap in this qualifying session. As you can see on screen right now, it's actually raining, and that meant that our lap time was 4 seconds off the pace of Nico Rosberg, so which is a very, very disappointing lap. That's an atrocious lap there in this qualifying session, but it was just a lap to sort of get used to the circuit. So in the second time of asking, we're actually 4 seconds faster right now, so this is a very, very decent lap here in qualifying. As we come down towards line, was the lap time going to be good enough for? It's a 1:56.7, good enough for third position, and yeah, that was actually good enough to get us through and into Q2. So a great result from us there to get into Q2. And now we can start thinking about whether we can get into Q3 or not. 9th position at the end of the day after everybody sort of sorted themselves up. Julian Palmer going faster than us as well, up into P5. So good result for the two Renault boys. Obviously, we are going to be very, very quick around here, and hopefully we can get another 1-2. But let's see how we do in Q2. Right then, the second qualifying session of the day as we come down towards line. We only decided to do one lap right at the end of the session as the track was drying out. Was lap time good enough for it? It's a slow lap, actually. It's very, very quick in the final sector, but it was a very, very slow lap, and it's only good enough for 13th position on the grid, and that means that we are out of Q2. A very, very disappointing qualifying lap. Julian Palmer at least gets into Q3, so at least there is a bit of positive news there for the Renault boys, but 13th position in qualifying, getting knocked out alongside Nico Hülkenberg, Romain Grosjean, myself, Esteban Gutierrez, Pascal Wehrlein and Fernando Alonso. It is not a good result for us, and we need to make sure that we improve during the race. So it's just going to mean that the race is going to be a lot more fun. It means that we can make a lot more overtakes, and hopefully we can get back up into maybe a top 5 position by the end of the race. We're just going to have to wait and see how it develops. But without any further ado, let's head over to the race for the European and the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
From Ayrton Senna's famous Donington win in 1993 to Stewart Grand Prix's only victory with Johnny Herbert at the Nürburgring, the European Grand Prix has some special entries into the Motorsport Hall of Fame. But it's time now to create new legends and new memories here on the shores of the Caspian Sea. With 20 turns and a length of 3.7 miles, Baku City Circuit in the heart of the Azerbaijan capital is a real test of a driver's endurance, patience and precision. 90-degree corners through Sector 1 lead into a tightening uphill sprint as we start to circle around the old city. Then a 1.4-mile chase flat out through Sector 3 towards the finish line. I'm joined again today by none other than Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, obviously there's a lot of development work that goes on with these cars between the races. You've been both a test driver and a race driver. What differences are there in the way you approach those roles?
Interesting question, Crofty. They're two very different mindsets. I mean, when I tested for BAR, we had full in-season testing where, per driver, you'd cover up to 15,000 kilometres per season. And in that role, it was more about working for the team, trying to help them improve the car and drive as systematically as you could, so that that data could be analysed in the most consistent way. When you're lining up on the grid for a race, however, your frame of mind's all about what you can get out of the situation on that day, and the car's the tool to help you achieve what you want. You still want to focus on setup, of course, but it's more about the here and now, getting yourself as far up the field as possible, and less about development work for the future.
Keep your eyes open on the run to turn 1 and keep it clean. We want to come out in one piece. Good luck.
It's race day here for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, starting in 12th position after Nico Hülkenberg took his grid penalty. So we've been bumped up one position, which is really, really good, and it makes it a little bit easier for us in the race. Having a look at the race strategy for today, starting on the soft tyres and then pitting for the super soft tyres halfway through the race. But we're not really too sure with the race strategy at the moment. Do we go for the mediums at the start, because obviously they will last longer? We really struggled with tyre wear last season. In Azerbaijan, you know, we really struggled with the rear tyres, but we are deciding to go for the super softs at the start of the race, because obviously if a safety car does come out very, very early on, we want to make sure that we don't lose out in terms of strategy. So we're deciding to go on the super soft tyres, and hopefully a safety car does come out, and then possibly go onto the mediums halfway through the race, or maybe go onto the softs. We'll just see how the race develops. But here we are getting underway for the formation lap, starting in 12th position on the grid. A lot of the other guys having to get past us. Jolyon Palmer not having the best of Q3 sessions, down in 10th place, and Kimi Räikkönen, after taking that 5-place grid penalty, is down in 9th. So the two guys that we need to beat in this race aren't really too far ahead of us, so hopefully we can get both those guys early on. We're right behind Roman Grosjean, so we're just going to go through our usual procedure, warm up the tyres, warm up the brakes, and hopefully we can get past the other guys within the first corner, maybe down that second long straight. So we're just going to have to wait and see how this first lap develops. But here we are on the starting grid, the lights coming on, 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And it's a great start compared to the Ferrari of Kimi Räikkönen, who did not get away very cleanly at all. Up the inside, down towards turn 1. He comes back at us in towards turn 1, round the outside. He's back up into P10 for now, but maybe we'll have a little look up the inside in towards turn 2. Up the inside of our teammate just a little bit as well, but we decide to back out of it. Obviously, we don't want to make a collision with Jolyon Palmer, otherwise we could ruin both of our races. And here we are going down this long straight. We've got the slipstream at the moment on Jolyon Palmer. Possibly have a look up the inside. Job done there on my teammate. And right behind the Red Bull driver of Max Verstappen as we go through this lap. A lot of the other guys ahead of me are quite bunched up at the moment. So we've got a very, very good opportunity to get past a lot of these guys within the next couple of corners. And maybe down that very, very long third sector. So hopefully we can get past those guys there as we go through this next section of corners. Nice and tidy at the moment. We need to just make sure that we don't make any mistakes on this opening lap, because we could hold up the rest of the pack and there could easily be a collision, especially if we made a mistake through here. And Jolyon Palmer had a look. We got very, very close to the back of Max Verstappen as well, so you just need to be alert through this whole section of the track, through the castle section now, getting very, very close to the wall there on the right, left, right, and luckily no contact with the wall, so we're very, very good through that castle section on the first lap. And now we just need to make sure that we close up the gap to Max Verstappen, which we should do, because they're all going to be bunched up as they go through this next corner. And there we go, just braking a little bit early as we go into this next corner, just to make sure that we are right behind the Red Bull driver of Max Verstappen as we go down in towards this really final braking corner on the circuit. Now it's pretty much flat out throughout, well, it is flat out throughout the rest of the circuit, well, the rest of the lap. So here we are going through the right now of the fast chicane, going through this little kink as well. We're going to get past Max Verstappen very easy indeed, and we might be able to close up to the likes of the 3 guys ahead of us down towards turn 1. We're so quick in a straight line. We might actually even have the opportunity to go for a move down in towards turn 1 on all of those guys. What a fantastic quadruple overtake down in towards turn 1. We are so quick in a straight line, and that definitely showed there here on that straight at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and that puts us up into P5 right behind Carlos Sainz. And this is becoming a very, very interesting race indeed, right behind the Toro Rosso driver at the moment on lap 2. Purple through sector 2 right now, of course, though it is the second lap, so we're not really taking too much into consideration for that. But through the final sector, right behind the Toro Rosso driver, so quick in a straight line. We get past him very, very easy on the left-hand side, and that is up into P4 for the time being. We might even be able to have a run on Daniel Ricciardo down towards turn 1. And we are so fast in a straight line that we're going to get the job done on Daniel Ricciardo from so far back on the Red Bull drive. It's side by side into turn 1, but then we finally get the job done. Can we? No, he's still on the outside. There we go. Job done on Daniel Ricciardo. And we are up into P3 in this Azerbaijan Grand Prix, catching up to now Sebastian Vettel and I think Nico Rosberg, who are leading the race. And here we are on the end of lap 3, right behind both of these guys through this left-hander. And if they do bass it out, then we could have a good chance of getting past them down through this this very, very long straight. So here we are going through the right, then through this little kink of a right here. We're so much quicker than the guys ahead of us in a straight line. We've also got slipstream from those guys. We've also got DRS as well. So that's going to mean we're going to be so fast in a straight line. Get past Lewis Hamilton, get past Sebastian Vettel, and there we go. We are now leading this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It's been a fantastic first 3 laps for us, and now we're just going to try and push on, get away from the rest of the guys, keep it in rich mix, and try and get a big gap to the other guys behind us. It's been a fantastic race for us so far, but here we are. It looks like Carlos Sainz and a lot of guys have actually closed up to the gap on us. Our tyre wear has really started to kick in. There you can see we just run it very, very wide on the exit of that corner. And this is a fantastic shot at the moment of Carlos Sainz trying to get past. He's got the slipstream. He will also have DRS down in towards turn 1. But is he going to be quick enough to get the job done? We've noticed it with some cars behind us early on in the race that they just weren't quick enough in a straight line. But I think Carlos Sainz is actually going to be quick enough down in towards turn 1. Under braking, round the outside. Can he get the job done? Yes, he can. That is a great move there from Carlos Sainz to move up into the lead of the race. And a Toro Rosso could actually go on to win this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. They're really, really good at the moment. And don't put it past them to go on and win the race. But we're thinking of coming into pits in the next couple of laps. I mean, The tyres are now starting to come away from us as it looks like Sebastian Vettel had a little look up the inside into that corner, but he couldn't quite get past. And then now we are following behind Carlos Sainz down this straight. We are going to have slipstream. We will get DRS in a minute, but it looks like we're going to get very, very close to him before we've even got to the DRS zone. And there we are, job done on Carlos Sainz, but we are actually coming into the pits. So we pull over to the left-hand side, get the car stopped before the line, and here we are making our first pit stop in this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It looks like some of the other guys ahead of us are possibly going for the one stopper in this race. We do need to be aware of that, and hopefully those guys don't get the jump on us. We're going to need to really push on these tyres. We also managed to break our front wing somewhere out on track. Sorry I didn't show you that, but we somehow managed to break our front wing, and that means we had to get a new front wing change. That is the main reason as well why we decided to make it a two-stopper, because the tyre wear was coming a little bit worse because of that broken front wing. That brings us out right behind the McLaren of Jenson Button at the moment, down into 18th position, which means that we're going to be making a lot more overtakes in this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So you have a lot more overtakes to look forward to in this race, and here we are right behind Jenson Button on the end of lap 8 at the moment. So here we are going down this very, very fast Sector 3 right behind the McLaren at the moment. We've got a McLaren ahead of him and a Sauber as well. So it could possibly be another triple overtake down in towards turn 1. We get past 1. We get past 2. We get past all 3 of them down before we've even got to the start-finish line. A fantastic move there down this straight. We are just so quick in a straight line. We're like literally like a rocket at this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We are so quick at the moment. And there we are up into P15. And up next for us is Rio Haryanto. And I think it's a Force India of Nico Hülkenberg. So here we are right on the back of Nico Hülkenberg at the moment, going down this Sector 3 at the moment. Looks like we're going to get past both these guys like we did to Jenson Button on the previous lap. And here we are, just maybe having a look to the left, of which we don't. Then we get squeezed on the right-hand side. Nico Hülkenberg not giving us a lot of room there on the right-hand side. Now following in the slipstream of Rio Haryanto, who deciding not to go to the left-hand side in case he comes into the pits. And it was a good job that we did not overtake him on the left-hand side. Otherwise, he could have crashed into us, and that could have been our race over, just like what happened to Nico Rosberg in last season's race. But nevertheless, that puts us up into P13. And up next for us is Valtteri Bottas, who we are right on the tail of on the end of lap 11. So hopefully we can get past this guy down through this sector. We've got Max Verstappen just ahead of him as well. Then I think it's Sebastian Vettel and another driver ahead of him as well. Julian Palmer comes into the pits so much faster than Valtteri Bottas at the moment, moving to the left hand side, getting the job done on both those guys. Can we close up to Sebastian Vettel as well down in towards turn 1? We're definitely going to try it, as it looks like Roman Grosjean was the driver who came into the pits on that lap. But there we go, closing up to Sebastian Vettel. Not quite able to go for a move, but because of some guys pitting in at the moment, that means we are up into P6 in this race, and now we are right behind the Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel on the end of lap 14. I'm not too sure whether this is basically a fight for the lead of the race. We're just going to have to wait and see how this race develops. But yeah, we're definitely having a decent fight with Sebastian Vettel at the moment, following right behind him in the slipstream, and just going to get squeezed there on the right hand side, but just about being able to make it through once again. And there we are in 4th position in this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Is anyone else come into the pits? No, they haven't. So it looks like we're going to stay in 4th position for the time being, but we need to push like hell and try and make sure that we can catch up to the other guys ahead of us, and hopefully try and regain the lead of the race, because it was such a good start to the race, but unfortunately that front wing damage and of course having to turn this into a 2-stop has really affected our race. And here we are making our 2nd stop in the race, coming onto the soft tyres on lap 16 at the moment. Looks like Nico Rosberg also coming into the pits. He's pitted for a set of super soft tyres, so he might be doing another 2 stops. I mean, he might be able to make those super soft tyres last another 10 laps, but I'm not too sure at the moment. But getting away nice and cleanly, very, very quick pit stop there from the Renault team, which is exactly what we need in this race. And unfortunately, though, we are behind another McLaren. This time, though, I think it is Fernando Alonso as we go through this left-hander now. And whereabouts are we in the position? So we're down in 11th place at the moment. It is actually Jenson Button that we are currently behind. But we're now going to put it up into Rich Mix, push like hell, and try and get those positions back. Here we are then, right on the end, right on the beginning of lap 19 at the moment, right behind Lewis Hamilton, who has literally just come into the pit lane. We're in P9 at the moment, right behind Lewis Hamilton. Can we possibly get the job done down in towards the next corner, following in the slipstream of Lewis? He has DRS from the driver ahead of him before he came into the pits, and we're going side by side with the Mercedes driver in towards turn 3. Can we get the job done? Holding it around the outside. It's still side by side between the two of us, still side by side as we go down in towards turn 4. Who's going to come out on top through this one? It's still side by side action at the moment, but it looks like we're going to get the job done. It's a great drive out of turn 4, and there we go, job done on Lewis Hamilton, and we take P8, I believe it is, in this Azerbaijan Grand Prix, but we'll be looking to hopefully improve on that as other drivers come into the pits later on in the race. But going through towards the castle section, there we are in P8, and it's a very, very good position to be in. But here we are, Lewis Hamilton right behind us a couple of laps later now, and it looks like he's had a great drive out of turn 6, going down in towards turn 7. Looks like he's going up the inside into the hairpin. Can he get the move done? Well, you do not want to go side by side down in towards the castle section, and Lewis Hamilton acknowledges that as he backs out of the move and decides to settle behind us through that section of the track. So Lewis Hamilton being very, very wise not to go for an overtake in towards that corner. But we're now on board with Daniel Ricciardo, who's following the Force India at the moment of Sergio Perez. Sergio Perez having a very, very decent race here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. You know, they're not very quick in terms of vehicle performance, but he's doing a very, very good job to be in the points right now. But Daniel Ricciardo will be looking to try and get past him, possibly down in towards that very, very fast sector 3. And just going through these quick left-handers at the moment, just trying to get those out of the way, just trying to keep up to as close as to Sergio Perez as he possibly can. But no, his engine has gone in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. That is Daniel Ricciardo out of today's race. A big disaster for the Red Bull driver, but it's fantastic news for us. He was ahead of us, and there we go. That means that we are going to gain an easy position there on the Red Bull driver up into P7, and the virtual safety car is deployed, which means that Lewis Hamilton will not be getting past us down this straight. So it gives us a little bit of a breather, and we can put it down into lean mix, save the tyres, save the fuel, and go again once we are underway. Green flag racing. But now Lewis Hamilton right our tail towards the end of the race now. It looks like he's going to be trying to go for a move down in towards turn 3. He's got the slipstream, he has got the DRS, he's got the left hand side down in towards the corner. Can he make the move stick up the inside this time? And we went side by side earlier on in the race, but will it come out onto Lewis Hamilton's advantage? We had a good drive on the outside of turn 4. Will he have a good drive out to the outside of turn 4? It looks like he has. We've lost the back end out to that corner. We have to concede position to Lewis Hamilton. It's a disaster for us in this race to lose out to the Mercedes driver. A little bit disappointed with that, but unfortunately that is just the way it has gone this time around. Hopefully we can get him back down the very, very fast sector 3. But we're on board with Sebastian Vettel at the moment, just going through this very, very fast sector 3 section. There's yellow flags out, not too sure why, as it looked like there's a manor going very, very slowly at the moment. Sebastian Vettel just getting held up by him right now, and as he speeds up, he goes into the back of the manor, into the wall. Disaster there for Sebastian Vettel, who then drives into the manor once again, and then Carlos Sainz follows through and drives into the manor as well. So not too sure what is going on in this race, as he's holding up the rest of the guys behind us, and Carlos Sainz is literally pushing Pascal Wehrlein into the pits. So disaster there from both the Ferrari driver of Sebastian Vettel and Carlos Sainz. But nevertheless, that means that we are now up into 5th position, I believe, in this race, as it looks like Julian Palmer is trying to get past us down in towards turn 3. And he's actually got the job done. A great move there from Julian Palmer using the DRS. And with this being the last lap, we need to get past him as soon as possible. However, if we save our fuel, which we are doing at the moment, we're deciding to save our fuel and use rich mix down that very, very long, fast sector 3. We should be able to get him just before the line. Hopefully that works out, otherwise this will be very, very embarrassing end to the race, just to lose out to Julian Palmer by a couple of tenths. But here we are going down through the castle section at the moment, just biding our time, just trying to make sure that we stay close to our teammate through this section, because we do not want to lose out to him, and we do not want to lose the gap, because obviously we will want to get DRS to hopefully go for the overtake down that straight. So we're just trying to stay close to him as soon as we possibly can, as we're on board with Danny Kvyat, who is going to come down towards the line to win his first ever race in Formula 1. It's been a fantastic race for the young Russian. There he goes, wins his first race here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. A great race for Danny Kvyat. I did not see that come in. Danny Kvyat win the race. It's a very, very big surprise, but maybe that is because of Sebastian Vettel crashing into Pascal Wehrlein earlier on. But here we are on the very, very fast final couple of corners of this lap. Can we get the job done on Julian Palmer down towards the start-finish line? We're going to have DRS any moment now down towards the line. Can we get the job done on Julian Palmer? We are catching up to him, but I'm not too sure. It's not going to be enough, and Julian Palmer unfortunately takes 6th position.
Shame about the result, but I know you gave it everything. We'll come back stronger next time.
Brilliant stuff from Toro Rosso today. What a superb victory. Tell me, Ant, what was the key to this success?
Well, the safety car completely changed the race, didn't it? It's hard to say exactly what would have happened without it, but there's no question that they came out of that situation in a good position.
And look at this, they're coming out now. Toro Rosso have developed something of a reputation for forging exciting talent, and we can see that here. An incredible victory.
Wow, what a race there at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We made so many overtakes in that race, so we should not be disappointed with only getting 7th place and losing out to our teammate. I mean, we had a fantastic start to the race. Maybe it was because we were on the faster tyres on the super softs, and then unfortunately it did sort of come away from us as the race went on. And yeah, once we went on the soft tyres, we were sort of getting overtaken by the likes of Lewis Hamilton behind us. But still, 7th place is a fantastic result. And it was a huge surprise that Danny Kvyat is our race winner for today. Nico Rosberg, he finishes in 2nd with Kimi Räikkönen in 3rd, closing up the gap in the championship. Lewis Hamilton finishes in 4th with Sergio Perez in 5th. My teammate, Jolyon Palmer, finishes in 6th, just about beating me by 2/10 of a second. We finished in 7th with Sebastian Vettel in 8th, Valtteri Bottas in 9th, and Carlos Sainz getting the final championship point. So a very, very good race here at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We're so fast in a straight line, and let's have a look how this affects us in the drivers' standings. Taking a quick little look at the drivers' standings now, and the gap between the two of us is 1 point. So once again, the championship has definitely closed up, with Kimi Räikkönen being 1 point behind us right now. So it's very, very close between the two of us. So we do need to have a good race in Austria to extend that lead and hopefully retake a good lead over Kimi Räikkönen in the championship. Maybe we can get a race win there. I mean, we got a 3rd position last time in season 1, so hopefully we can get a race win there this time around. But let's have a quick look at the constructors standings. And in the constructors standings, we are still in 2nd place, and we've actually lost out to Ferrari, I think, a little bit. The gap is now 13 points between our two teams, so it's still pretty close. You know, we're still definitely in the hunt for the Constructors' Championship, but Ferrari are still leading the way by 13 points. I think Mercedes have closed up the gap just a little bit as well, so they are starting to come into the frame, but they're still a long way off with 75 points. But that is it for today's Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Let's head back to the menus. Taking a quick look at the rivalry update after today's race, and it was a good race for Kimi Räikkönen, but we got the fastest lap, fastest sectors, and that means that we have finally beaten Kimi Räikkönen in the rivalry, which is a fantastic result for us, which means that hopefully we'll get a new rival next time around at the Austrian Grand Prix, and I can't wait to see who it is going to be. But a very, very good race for us. We've got 1,163 resource points to spend, so I'm not too sure what we're going to spend on at the moment. We can upgrade our fuel efficiency, our downforce, and our drag, but drag doesn't give us a lot in terms of vehicle performance comparison compared to the other guys. So I'm actually thinking about saving up for the engine power one after the Austrian Grand Prix. So I think that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to save up for the engine power upgrade and do that at the Austrian Grand Prix. I mean, I could upgrade downforce, I could upgrade drag, but heading into the next couple of tracks, it is of course Austria, Britain, and Germany's coming up, with Hungary being the odd one out in there for the power track. So we need to make sure that we're very good in a straight line, and upgrading our engine will definitely do that, and also help us maybe overtake Mercedes in the vehicle performance comparison. But that is it for today's Azerbaijan Grand Prix. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to smash that like button. Also, subscribe to my channel if you are new around here. We're going to have this career mode coming to you every single day for the whole of Season 2. So if you are subscribed to my channel, then you never have to miss an episode from me. But that is it for this race. I will see you next time at the Austrian Grand Prix. But until then, it's goodbye from me.